Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Drexel Free Thought Society Weekly Podcast. In this portion of the show, we invite everyone to call in, to talk to us, to give us their opinions, to tell us that we're wrong, to tell us that we're right, to praise our incredible excursions, to demonize everything we've ever said. Or, if you must, talk about how pretty I am.
No,
I never get enough
David.
of that.
Bash
Yeah, you don't get any of that.
I never get any of that. Anyway, this week is depression and religion. I'm so sad. About religion.
I know we.
All right, let's just continue the conversation.
We laughed way too much in the first half for it to be a depression.
It's because of you.
It's all your fault.
Yay, let's all act depressed now.
Whenever everyone looks at Izzy, they just burst out laughing.
Axel was just like hiding.
It's kind of true.
She's gone into hibernation for the winter.
What?
He went into hibernation there for like 30
you're
seconds.
Like sad or
Okay.
something. Maybe she is depressed. Let's talk about Oxen's depression.
Anyways.
I'm not depressed. I'm just tired.
No.
Cassie looks like she wants to say something.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you actually did.
No. Originally I did, but then
Talk, Cassie, talk.
No,
now.
trolls have invaded.
Now that
Talk about your
that depressed me.
debilitating depression that you have at the moment, at the current moment.
So.
Okay, I'm just gonna start talking.
Yeah.
So I got an email from Spreaker that said 7 people are listening to our show. Can we have 7 people that actually want to talk to us because we really want to talk to you and you make us happy. So you would make us really happy if you talk to us. Thanks.
Stop being a creeper.
Okay, so the idea is if you want to give us a comment or a suggestion or anything like that, please email us at drexfreethought@gmail.com or find us on Twitter or Facebook. But if you want to talk to us right now, join the Spreaker chat function. You just have to create an account on Spreaker and you can live chat with us. And at the same time, you could join us on Skype. We are Drexel Free Thought, all one word. And then just call in and talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. This time is for you, our viewers.
So we're just going to sit here and ramble about stuff until someone says something to us.
Like always.
Yeah.
Did you guys cover like I got here late obviously, but we talked about religion and its connection to depression. Did you guys talk about the two separate things?
Not specifically, so go
Okay.
specific.
Okay, so depression, can be like, hey, I'm really sad, but stuff like, like chronic depression stuff is actually a chemical imbalance in your brain. So
That would be kind of difficult to induce.
well, yeah, it's not, it's not like regardless. For example, regardless.
Would you
if
please
I-
just finish that?
I didn't realize how
laughing at it. Go ahead.
regardless if I believed in God or not, I'm still depressed. Like, they can exist as two separate things.
Of course.
But
But
so.
that actually raises an interesting idea.
But
It's like,
yeah.
even if you have, if you are emotionally depressed, you actually slack your arms more, you stoop, your muscles are engaging and relaxing at inopportune times, and eventually it actually does release chemicals into your bloodstream, and you can get depressed.
Yeah.
Chemically depressed. So the interesting idea is are you born with depression, or does it actually develop?
Well, I was.
And you must be a very boring baby.
Right. Well, no, like some depressions. No.
Do you a therapy pet?
Like bipolar especially it can just sort of pop up, but it tends to be genetic. So like, if it runs, that's how depression runs in the family, is because it's actually genetic. So,
Yes.
if you've got the genetic disposition, God's not going to save you or damn you either way,
Yeah.
You're probably going to.
You're already Dan.
You are.
I
You're
would
screwed
like
from
to
birth.
Attest,
Oh, sorry.
okay.
Go, Richard.
I said I would like to attest to the I have bipolar depression. I'm clinically diagnosed with awesome.
Yeah.
And
Depression 5.
and I like to attest to the fact that most people think that bipolar disorder makes people very happy randomly and very, very depressed randomly, but I'd also like to attest to the fact that that's not how it works. Usually, and I'm saying usually, sometimes it can be different. There has to be something to offset it. So if I'm upset by something, I usually get more upset than other people when it comes to other people that do not have bipolar depression. And in the case with religion, if you're already predisposed to depression or bipolar depression or bipolar 1 disorder, this will offset more depression due to what religiosity does, the institution of religion, and the people that are within the religion, and what religion actually stands for. You're a worthless pile of garbage. You can't do anything right, and you automatically also have to atone to every single thing that you do, because if you don't, then you're going to hell.
On the flip side, though,
I kind of wanted to say something earlier. Can we talk about Scientology?
after
what-
we're talking about being
No,
depressed.
about
Scientology
because
makes
this
it-
actually connects to because
Ooh,
Scientology
I can do it.
is super against any sort of medication for mental illness.
They're also extremely against psychiatrists.
What?
Well, psychologists, I should say.
Because I feel like most people
No,
they just kind of
they actually directly blame a lot of the stuff that happened in the Nazi concentration camps on psychologists.
why?
Wow.
Because they want to make psychologists as evil as possible.
Well, yeah, because
They lie. A
Well,
lot.
in certain
psychologists will just look at a Scientologist, break every rule of clinical warmth, and go, "That's crazy. Are you kidding me?" Like they'll just literally just look them dead in the eye and be like, "That's nuts. You need to stop."
No,
In
do you-
certain
What?
cases,
Let
they're
me
actually
psychoanalyze.
right that, sometimes psychology has been used for nefarious purposes. I'm not sure about in Germany, but I know in the United States there has been some isolated incidences where psychology has been used for some already disclosed information, and that has been used as a warfare tactic against people in the military. Isn't that right, Dante? Yeah, you were in that?
I was ex-military.
So,
And just one more thing. I'll be really quick. Well, the thing of it is, I feel like a lot of people just kind of want to laugh Scientology off, and they're just like, oh, ha ha ha, they believe in the crazy aliens or whatever they believe in or whatever. And people are like, yeah, it's fine, ha ha ha, but like, whatever, it's weird. But, like, they actually are causing harm to people, by being so anti-psychology, being so anti-helping people with mental illness, they're causing a lot of harm. And they're causing because there's already a stigma with mental illness, and they're just adding to that. Okay, Kelsey.
2 points. Forget my first point. But my other point was getting back to what Richard said originally, with that, sometimes when you're depressed, having that religion of guilt and, you have to, that you're already starting at a negative point is without getting into Catholic versus Protestant versus whatever, it can also have, just recognize it can also have the reverse effects. If you're really depressed and you're like, well, Jesus loves me, whoop-de-doo. But that it can go either way, that you can either say, well, I'm depressed and this really sucks and, I'm really guilty and I'm going to hell, or you could take it the flip side and be like, yo, I'm depressed, but if I am a good person, then I get lots of fuzzy things when I'm dead. So
So it sounds like just conditioning.
it depends. I mean, it depends on what kind of, I'm sure, I don't know a lot of Buddhists, but I'm sure if you're Buddhist, you're not going to be all it's not going to add to your depression. But if you're Catholic, you're going to be depressed whether you're depressed or not. It's just the nature of, not to hate on Catholics. I have a lot of Catholic friends. You guys are nice.
I'll hate on Catholics.
I'll hate on Catholics too.
I just don't like
Was it
hating on an
ex-Catholics?
entire
No,
group
sorry.
of like
Keep going.
that their Catholicism doesn't define them as people, but like religions like Catholicism or like what's another one?
Protestant.
No, not Protestantism is actually really chill, but it's
Toxic. You get the door.
something else that I forget what it is, but
Sorry for the loudness. People are on the outside being very loud.
but some other ones, Baptists get really like
That's my family.
Yeah, so I mean
Fundamentalists,
Baptists,
70%.
Catholics. There was another sect of, can add to that.
Latter Days.
Well, no, Latter-day Saints are actually really like positive. And they're like, we love people. But if you're
Amish are pretty positive too.
well, but if you go to like a revival church, then you can. Like a lot of times, the whole idea of a revival church is it's like you go in, feel the spirit, and your mind gets blown, and then you leave and you go home and you go about your daily life. So it can.
So
go
just,
either way.
just to make sure, the depression that we're talking about isn't the I don't want to call it
Clinical?
Yeah, but we're talking about just the feeling of hopelessness, worthlessness, just being sad.
There actually is like a growing trend in psychology that a lot of at least effects of religion can be classified as their own type of mental illness.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, one of the more obvious ones
Fear.
is religious trauma syndrome.
What is that?
People that leave religion still feel the an easy example is like the unbridled fear of hell is still in them, and they actually have to go through what is similar to like rehab.
Yeah.
Well, even
Yes.
Go ahead. I still haven't recovered from being a Catholic, so I can attest to that.
Ouch.
Well, I was.
It's heavy
Well,
indoctrination.
I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and there's just some ideas that since it's such an intense religion as opposed to something else,
Like a liberal thing.
as if I left, if my family up and left the Presbyterian church, because my family goes to a Presbyterian church. If they up and left, it'd be like, okay, we feel good about ourselves, but when we left the Catholic Church, it's like, whoa, hate, lots of, and there's still lots of ideas that I carry over from being a former Catholic.
So it's kind of a culture shock.
Mm-hmm.
It is, well,
Oh
and,
yeah,
and
a lot of times you have to leave everything that you had before your social group used to carry you.
Yeah, but it's
can be
like any
terrifying.
other culture shock. If you change a country, I obviously it's not geographic, but
Yeah.
like I don't go to midnight mass anymore. I don't have to memorize prayers anymore. Like
You're taking out the norm.
So imagine,
Well, and-
imagine what you can do at that time.
Hail
well,
Mary,
like
full of grace.
I was like 10 years old or whatever, and I had the Apostles' Creed memorized. Like, what
Oh my
10-year-old
God.
has the Apostles' Creed memorized?
Apparently
Me.
you. Like, what? That
What's
thing's
the
like a
Apostles'
page
Creed?
long.
No, the little pocket Apostles' Creed.
Oh,
we
that's
believe in God
the children's
Holy-
version?
Oh
Not
yeah,
the version that we say every Sunday. Well,
that's forced into children early.
but
Yeah.
it's like a repetitive
There's
type
one.
thing.
There's one creed that's really long. Like it takes up the whole page in the hymnal.
nah.
Hail
no.
Mary,
Like-
full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Blessed art thou among women,
and blessed is the fruit of
fruit
your
of thy
womb,
womb,
Jesus.
I'm scared.
Guys, if you keep saying that, Jesus will appear.
Maybe
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
that would be a good thing because then he can explain what the heck is
I
going
would
on.
love to meet him.
Well,
I would.
Yeah.
if we're talking about,
Apparently he'll be really short and black. So,
hey, yeah,
Dante.
Also, the thing
He's Middle
about
Eastern. Won't be
what
that dark.
Cassie was saying before of how at least people with bipolar can take religion and actually be more happy about it. I remember when I was younger and I was going through some stuff in my life, and whenever I saw a religious sign, I took it to meaning like, hey, that's some spiritual advice for me, something I can do to better myself. But in reality, what I was doing was that I was feeding the bad stuff that was going on in my life, the emotional abuse that was going on in my life, and basically relating that to how I was a bad person and how, I should use this other stuff that told everybody that they're a bad person to become a better person. And I remember sitting in church sometimes, and you know how they say, like, God forgives you once you've done your prayers and everything.
Mhm.
I always had that idea in my head, and this is so messed up, that the pastor was going to say, God forgives you except for Richard.
You
Screw
said
that guy.
pastor.
Pastor,
Priest.
yeah, person.
Rabbi.
No, he said pasture.
Oh, okay.
It's
The pasture,
safer
well,
safe.
the pasture, the sheep was talking to him.
Well, you know what I mean by that.
Baba Ram, you.
Well, you know what? They call
Does
it
does everyone still remember that Bob Ramsey thing?
The what?
From Babe.
The what?
Yeah, like I still remember that stupid little rhyme.
The
What was it?
Baba Ram, you.
No.
What?
Babe?
No.
I
Oh,
honestly
I never
have,
seen
like,
Babe.
Story about a little-
pig
I have
sheep
very,
girl.
very little memory of that movie.
That just means we have to watch Babe sometime.
Oh, do you remember the spell to activate Merlin's wand from Halloween Town?
I never saw Halloween Town.
I love that movie.
Bakey Ma, Bakey to Fear, Cletus North, and McBig.
I didn't even remember that, but I love that movie.
I'm more of a Sword of Stone kind of guy.
Animated? Like animated Sword of Stone? Like.
No, the Disney.
Yeah, the
That-
Disney
that is
animated one.
the
Or-
original.
I thought you said anime. I
The
thought you
original.
There you go.
Why?
Japanese England.
No, awesome.
So, do we have any questions or people reaching out to us?
Nope.
Nothing.
Quiet today.
So,
Too many people are happy. We need to make.
No, they're depressed right now.
You're all gonna burn in hell. Tell us why.
Who said
But
that?
I will vouch to the whole culture shock thing. 'Cause I remember as I was deconverting from Catholicism, it really
seems
wasn't.
to be traumatizing.
Wow.
Somebody
Yeah.
put a hair dryer.
Probably
on
in
your-
fish.
And yeah, like there was these people that were just standing for a safer sex coalition. They were just kind of standing around. They were giving out condoms. They were giving out, little lube package. Kind of the kind of thing you find at a Pride Fest or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
They're just shoving condoms in your face, and I nearly screamed and did an exorcism style and ran away. And the guys were just kind of standing there like, what? And they were just trying to give something that's actually really, really important for our modern world. Use condoms, kids. But the entire culture.
So they're saying it's okay to have sex as long as you wear the condom.
It's-
Some women
exactly.
flat out say you shouldn't do it.
Wrap your tool, baby.
And Jesus loves you, remember.
Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you more when you wrap it.
Jesus watches you when you.
Yeah.
Unless
Go
you
to the
live
bathroom.
Unless you
Don't
live in
worry.
Russia where there's
He
a baby
hates gay
shoot.
people and he knows
Right.
what's
Well,
gay people because he
I raised my hand.
Gotcha.
Well, see, that's what kind of bothered me as a kid when my family was generally Baptist and stuff, and it was like God watches everything you do, and it's just like they're weird. It's like I'm washing up, and there's a man watching me. Like even as a kid, this is sinking in my head. I was like, there's a guy watching me wash up. That doesn't seem right. And as I'm getting older and everything, I'm still thinking about this like God watches everything I do.
Oh, you wanna hear-
But here's my
You want all
question.
of me?
I'm like, how is God watching all billions of people? I always ask these
He
questions. and
sees
stuff.
you when you're sleeping.
Sleeping.
He knows when you're awake.
Out of season.
It's just bizarre.
Oh, can I tell you my favorite thing that my mom used to tell me?
Sure.
That if you,
Muslim?
yeah, Muslim, that you shouldn't take a shower standing up because the devil's watching you, so you should sit down and shower. And he can't.
Wait, how's that even work?
And what would he be able to see less of?
I don't know. I don't understand.
I'm pretty sure I understand how sitting works.
That's awesome.
Pentecostal.
Ah,
That's what
yes.
it was. Pentecostal Christians.
They're insane.
What do they
Actually,
do?
they are. Well, no. Like
What's
Pente-
up?
are actually. As much as I love people, Pentecostals are actually insane.
Do they eat the Jesus cookie?
No, that's a Catholic thing.
Strictly Catholic?
Well,
Pretty
no.
much.
The Jesus cookie is Catholic. The idea of Eucharist is Christian. So, at the Presbyterian church that my family goes to, they.
Get a big mouthful of Jesus.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, no.
But like at the Presbyterian church, they actually, they actually take a loaf of bread from like the local grocery store or whatever.
And
They
they bless
actually,
it?
well, no, like that it's a symbolic thing that the pastor, real nice lady by the way, the pastor.
Oh my gosh, she's a woman.
She's a woman and she's married to another pastor and they have 2 kids. That's how laid back Presbyterians are.
Yeah, it's like
So if
But that's
any
kind of
guys-
like the whole walk into the church and go like, I'll just flip through my Bible. Women cannot hold dominion over man. They must sit and be quiet in the churches.
Well,
Pentecostals are cool. They're like 2 steps away from UUs, and they're really nice. So
Pentecostals or
No,
Presbyterians?
Presbyterians.
I was
Yeah,
like, Pentecostals.
Bread? No.
But like
So the
for
bread.
bread. Yeah, well, actually, she'll cut the bread a little bit. She'll actually, it's like pre-cut on the bottom, so it breaks easier.
Okay.
She'll actually
Cheer.
say, okay, you know what? For the theatrics.
It's like, look at my sorcery. Bread for all.
Well, like, I wouldn't want to stand there and be like, all right, can you guys hand me a bread knife? It's like, this is my body. And,
Well, they read the
crack
Bible, that's just
open,
painful.
crack it up. But they do, so you can actually have, so it's not like age restrictions. They have little tiny cups of grape juice
Okay.
that are the blood, and then they have, little, and then they just hand out the cups of grape juice, and then they've got bread that she actually breaks the bread, puts that aside, and they've got like little pre-cut bits of bread that they just sort of hand out. So it's like accessible and nice. It's like you're actually eating bread and grape juice, not like that you get the Jesus cookie and you're like, this is turning into man as it enters your mouth, which is kind of a daunting concept.
It's one of those things I'm just like, who woke up in the morning and decided these are the parts of the Bible we're going to focus on?
we're
No
gonna
trimming your beard. We're going to eat dead people.
Well, Amish people don't cook.
And no foreskins, man.
None.
Ew.
It's because
And gay folk are icky.
It's because somewhere along
I'm Christian.
somewhere along the line, somebody did not like the status quo, and they felt as if they were a bigger authority on God. And it was just like, you know what? These guys are doing this whole God thing wrong. If we just create the Jesus cookie, this will make people better. And then a bunch of people are like, yeah, you're pretty smart.
No,
We're
no,
like
no.
Jesus cookie.
It's just
the Jesus.
another-
Well, the
No,
Jesus.
it's just another thing in the book. Like, they just randomly pick things and base the
Not-
entire religion around it.
Not necessarily. It sounds like what you were saying is like, I'm better than you. Like, if we're getting all historic here, the whole, this is my bread, body, except like whatever blood, grape juice.
Blood grape
That was like you can go
Screw
back.
you, biology. It's grape juice.
We use grape juice so little kids can drink it.
They
'Cause
hand out
cat-
wine to everyone in Catholic
Well,
church.
I drank. My dad was just like, this is pretty close to the wine that they use in the Catholic Church. And I sipped it and I was like, oh, that's the nastiest thing I've ever tasted.
Well, yeah,
Wine
it's lost
tastes
wine.
terrible.
Well, it was like special kind of nasty wine. It was like special cheap wine.
Oh,
Yeah, none
yeah.
of all
Anyway,
of the
finish your
wine-
story.
Okay. So that goes back to Last Supper and everything, and it actually says break the bread, remember me after I've passed on, blah blah blah. I don't feel like quoting the verses.
Yeah.
And then afterwards you have the Protestant Reformation, which is like when you get into like Lutheranism, and it's like this is kind
1500s
of
Protestant Reformation, right?
something like that. But
1555. Sorry.
okay, history. Okay.
History.
Well, and then you get into like Lutheranism of like Martin Luther's like, dude, you're doing this wrong. You shouldn't be like sacrificing doves and killing goats, because like no matter how many doves you buy, you're not going to get into heaven if you're a real jerk. And that's completely separate. And then you get
Yeah,
Protestant
right.
Reformation, and that's a little bit more liberal, a little bit more, and then from there you get all sorts of Anabaptism, Protestantism, Angelicism, Western Church, Eastern Church.
And the other
If you
40,000.
look at original Martin Luther, that was more conservative than the actual Catholicism.
But yeah, but
Christian
it's,
homes.
that it's just different breaks. It's not necessarily like you are worshiping God the wrong way, buddy. It's just sort of like I don't know.
They pay to get into heaven instead of staying
Depends
in
on the history of the
purgatory,
denomination.
which
Because
you
there's
didn't believe
40,000 denominations, so
Yeah,
some
there's
of them,
like-
some of them
a
are
lot
pretty
of
disagree.
You know what's one thing that's kind of pointless?
David McDevitt.
Oh, I said that only needs press.
I'm sorry.
It's a good thing you're not religious, though. You'd be even more depressed. Okay, yeah, you were saying?
I don't know what I was saying. Oh, debating theology.
Cool.
Why is it?
Well, it's more like history.
It's not okay.
Yeah, if you're
but
talking
yeah.
Speaking of interpretations,
Oh,
has
boy.
I'm just saying, has anybody seen two different interpretations? One, Passion of the Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I never
You've
actually
seen
seen
that?
it.
Yeah.
Okay, don't see
I
it.
have.
It's like watching
It's-
crucifixion.
It's awful.
It
It's
is
so
no, it
awful.
is basically watching a man get crucified.
It
It's
was
the
so
nastiest thing I've ever
boring.
seen.
It's
But they
disgusting.
made a big
That's
deal.
it. Keep going.
But second interpretation, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
But you see,
Superstar.
guys,
With the third.
the
Sorry.
problem is, although those are two different interpretations of something and they're theatrically shown in different ways, they're more or less based on the same stuff
Yeah.
and could be just as justified.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but it's for Jesus Christ Superstar.
It's still kinda
After
scary.
it's still kind of scary, but after I had already lost my religion, when I saw Jesus Christ Superstar, that brought up even more. Like, even though it's religious, it encourages, at least for me, some kind of question, like those kinds of questions to pop up, and it encourages somebody who's already religious or not religious or whatever to ask, like, when was Judas damned? You know, was he damned because he didn't believe that Jesus was God? Was he damned because he committed suicide? Was he damned because, you know, or was he damned at all? You know,
Yeah, my bigger question is, do these people exist at all?
you know, but like it encourages these kinds of questions, which is, even though I'm not religious, which why I love Jesus Christ Superstar so much. That and it's got catchy songs.
It's
Yeah.
true.
So
I sang one of them in
I
chorus.
was singing them in the shower about 2 days ago.
That's
I
amazing.
knew a lot of the people who played the title
Alright,
roles.
aside from
so.
Cassie being in the shower, does anyone else have important
Anybody
news?
else? Like,
Ten Commandments is an interesting movie.
that was weird.
Is
But-
that a movie still?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
No,
it's,
is
it
there-
didn't just like cease being a movie.
No,
like,
is there a new one?
no.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's still
Okay.
the old one.
All copies of the old one have been burned.
Finally.
No, actually, okay, my family has like kind of a weird tradition every year on Easter. We always like watch the 10 Commandments on TV because it's so stupid and cheesy.
It's nostalgic,
Like the
too.
acting is so just like so over the top. Like we just like do like a running commentary and like my
We gotta watch the Ten Commandments over your house one day and just do commentary on it.
and like
Awesome.
it's funny because like my dad was like getting really he's like well he's like I'm just gonna leave. He's like, this is so pointless trying to watch this movie with you guys because you keep on talking. I'm like, okay, you do realize like this movie's really stupid. Like it's funny. Like,
No, because if you think something is realistic and you think we're not playing them now,
The entire movie,
Wow.
Bible animated movie on YouTube.
Oh,
10
boy.
Commandments, 2009 Bible animated movie
But-
HD.
Before we go back on topic, I must say that the part when he blew up the golden calf was awesome.
boom.
That was an epic experience.
that was one of those stories that just made no sense to me. God did all these fantastic miracles, and then like a month or something of Moses being away, oh, we're just gonna worship something else now. It's been a month and no miracles.
Actually, if you look at the history of that, what that idol really was an idol of the tribes of Israel that was before Judaism actually came into play in the first place, which Yahweh was actually the one god of war and stuff, and the one calf that they were worshiping
man.
were that.
Having multiple gods when it's written in the Bible and everyone should know about that already, that's heresy.
Wait, you know what? Like everyone's jumped on the pastafarian. Why is there no one worshiping the golden calf these days?
Well,
like, I think there should
The
definitely
golden
we should
calf got
definitely
his
have a,
behind kicked by a bull.
I think we should definitely have a
Yahweh
golden
said
calf.
no.
A religion? Anybody?
Movie?
But it's so
Wait,
freaking
have you seen
expensive.
Dogma?
Movie?
No,
The movie Dogma?
not yet.
They did one of those things.
The Ten Commandments, that's where the golden calf got exploded.
Yeah, Golden Calf.
Yeah, they-
Anybody
they
in the
threw it-
movie
they-
world? No?
What?
Dogma?
I just said Dogma.
Yeah, and I said movie, and you're just like, I don't know what that means.
What's a movie?
movie?
Oh.
Oh, I think you just kept saying movie.
No,
It's
movie.
like, yes, movie. What
yeah,
is a
movie is
movie?
the golden calf from Dogma.
It's
Oh!
They created an entire company.
it is literally.
It's literally a golden calf.
So when Matt Damon character.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert!
Wait.
Matt Damon. It's not a big spoiler. You can relax. Matt Damon thinking is God, I forget who
He's
he
like
is.
he's like an angel
Well,
of
he's-
vengeance or something.
Yeah, he's like the angel of vengeance, and he wants to get back into heaven with Ben Affleck's character. So he's just like, what's better than destroying a false idol to get back into heaven? Because he was thrown out of heaven. It's a big story.
Like,
Doesn't matter.
So,
TTFO,
so the
dude.
angel, he was thrown out of heaven. He's trying to get back in. He's like, what's better than continuing, than destroying a
continuing
false
God's message.
Well, and destroying a false idol. That should get me back in heaven, right? So he goes to the place that's like movie, whatever company made movie, and he's just like, yeah, you guys are worshiping a false idol, and you've got these TV shows and everything like that, and you're all idolaters. So he kills all of them, and he's just like, yeah, so one step closer to me being back in heaven. But it's like, since he's a vengeance
Hey,
guy,
there's lots of biblical justification for what just happened.
I like Salma Hayek.
Yes.
Just a note, biblical justification for anything is not justification.
So yeah, if you're sitting there going, the Bible told me to kill someone, you're wrong. You should get psychiatric help.
No, do you know
Well,
what's
I mean,
funny?
if you just want to kill someone, you should probably get psychiatric help.
Yeah.
No, do you want, this is what
What does that person really mean?
no, this is what I find
Then it
hilarious.
might be okay.
When God told Abraham to kill his son, that's all hunky dory, and everyone's like, all right, it's great that he told him not to. That's a thing about God's mercy. What about when God tells crazy people to go kill their children by drowning them?
But in all fairness, that was before. If you take a look at the Bible,
Oh, it's the whole new covenant nonsense.
New Covenant, but since-
Outlawing of
if
sacrifices.
if you go back to when Jesus was around,
Except when Jesus said that every letter of the Old Testament should be followed as is.
remember he did go to the church and stuff, not to the church, the temple. Churches didn't exist, and he said something along the lines of like, "You've turned my father's house into a den of thieves,"
Yeah.
and the whole idea was that
Beat some ass.
yeah, he just basically overturns the whole market and said,
Well,
"You've turned my father's."
he creates a savage or something.
A
It's a
savage?
cat, he effectively makes a cat of nine tails and flings it at people to chase them away.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that,
he
but
basically
I just
whips
remember.
everyone to
Well,
death.
I just remember
Not to death.
Jesus comes in, everybody's selling stuff at the temple. He flips his shit, says, "What are you guys doing?" And that was sort of overturning, like, you can't buy doves to get into heaven. It was sort of like the same thing with Abraham, of just like, God taketh and God giveth and taketh away, and
Yes.
taketh and giveth away,
Give and
something
take
like
it
that.
away.
Got them in reverse. But that's sort of like the sacrificing stuff sort of got abandoned once time progressed.
Same thing.
So it sounds more cultural.
So we're saying the Old Testament's out.
Well, no, not necessarily. Like,
Okay, so only the parts that we like of the Old Testament are allowed to keep.
Exactly.
I just
Bingo.
like as far as like,
What about when Jesus said slavery was awesome?
That's still
Did he say
okay.
that? What part is that?
fine, yeah.
Slaves, you must obey your earthly masters and worship them as you would worship Christ.
Wait a minute, I thought that was
Well,
Paul.
I'm pretty sure Jesus did not say
Does-
that.
That
Jesus
was that
did
was
say
Paul.
that.
Okay.
I thought.
Jesus
So-
definitely said that.
Jesus did not say that.
Yes,
Jesus
he
did
did.
not write the Bible.
What?
Jesus did not write the Bible.
So it doesn't like what his dad did, or what himself did.
Well,
rather?
Jesus said.
See,
Jesus was quoted as saying that.
Okay, so which other parts of the Bible were just quoted wrong?
All
A
of
lot
them,
of it.
because he didn't write it.
Yeah. Like,
And now we go into. So, does Jesus' character exist?
This is really
Now
depressing.
everyone's mad.
I hate to be like that person who's just like, well, if we take a look at the Bible, me not being religious, like,
Yeah, I mean,
and I
No,
always,
it's
Yeah,
okay,
I
the
always
Bible-
feel,
let's make it very clear. These are interesting things to talk about, but for the most part, who the hell cares what the Bible says about anything?
A lot of people in America do.
yeah. Well, I'm just
Yes.
like,
That's the
So
barometer.
why? That whatever.
It's more like
If everyone worshipped Harry Potter, that doesn't mean we should
Well-
give it any
well-
credence.
Well, here's my question.
Yeah.
If I were to pose as a Christian, and I'll be like, I'll go on Facebook with all my hundreds of friends. I go, hey guys, I'm doing a Bible study today. We're going to read excerpts from the Bible. Some really interesting stuff. You guys care to join? And a bunch of people show up. And I open up that Bible, and I start reading parts that people tend to not really read in church. Like bears mauling people and horse emissions and stuff.
And
What would
gang
people
gang
think of
raping-
me?
gang-
What would people
gang
think of me?
raping
Because
dogs.
I'm actually reading from the Bible, but does that make me a bad person?
Is it a Bible? Well, because you said, posing as a Christian, we're going to read the Bible, we're going to study,
Or better,
discuss,
how about I get an actual Christian to read those parts of the Bible? That'd be better.
I'll pose as the Christian. As an ex-Catholic, well, because I think it's important. As religion or, feminism or like whatever, I think it's important to know your source material and
Yes.
have a context for it. Like, contextually, the Bible was written a hell of a long time ago by a bunch of guys about a bunch of
And
guys
it was
who were already
effectively
dead.
cobbled together of a lot of different documents.
Well, and
So and there was many meetings in which they just got rid of
Sorry.
chunks of it for no discernible reason other than they felt like it.
Well, and also, shout out to Dr. Yaba Blay, you're my favorite. Dr. Blay talks. Dr. Yaba Blay, she's my Africana Studies professor, and she's amazing. You should all take her. But she talks
can't.
about. Okay, well.
Keep talking.
But she talks about how, things are political. Education is political. The different things are, education, you could say, in 1492, Christopher Columbus stuck his flag in. It was the greatest thing that ever happened, and he discovered North America.
He's a moron.
But he's also
What are you watching?
a crazy
Really
European,
Diseased.
but contextually, you could say, this guy landed here and this is what happened. And then you can, and that you have to understand, some of that stuff of like, and he raped and pillaged and burned a bunch of stuff down, gets edited out of the textbooks. And a lot of that stuff gets edited in. So it's the same thing with any kind of, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
The best way to the best person to actually read the Bible, I would think, is a historian, because he or she knows everything that happened in the past.
I sorry to interrupt, but I just have to keep going back to this. It's like, yes, it is an interesting historical document, but it's just as an interesting historical document as some little girl's diary written 2,000 years ago.
But
And it has more.
It has nothing.
No, it has more social impact
It's
on
an-
today's
No, it has
society.
social impact, but it only has social impact because we gave it social impact.
It's an
Well,
exactly
like-
the
That's what we do. That's
No, but
what
that's
we
the
do
thing
as
is-
a society.
Like, we made it significant.
We're not
It's
laughing anymore.
Well,
No, we made it significant, but we didn't. It's
Except
not
me.
significant inherently.
well, I have $1 in
Like-
my wallet. If I rip that dollar in
No,
half
I mean,
and I
like-
say, well, this is
No,
junk.
like the Magna Carta or something is a significant document,
Well,
like demonstrably.
In your
but
opinion.
if we just take the
No, it made countries happen.
well, like if we just take the Magna Carta and say, well, this is a load of
Everyone on
bullshit,
that side is mad.
and you
everyone
just
over
create
here
a
is
separate
not.
country that's just like, I don't believe in the Magna Carta, then it would be, the I feel like it's the same thing with the Bible or whatever. Like if I just took $100 bill and I said this doesn't mean anything and I burned it, y'all would freak out. You'd be
It's
like,
like the
oh my god,
Constitution.
it's $100.
I'm like, it's not
It's
my
like the
money, that's your problem.
Constitution, It's a symbol. It's an icon,
Guys,
right?
Pastor's talking.
But I feel like it's the same thing. David obviously doesn't believe in the Bible. And for him, it's a printed book, and you could just be like,
No,
well,
but, no,
this,
this is the thing I keep bringing up all the time. It's not that I don't believe the Bible; it's that no one does. People pick and choose the pieces they feel like believing, and then they
Generalization.
ignore the rest of it.
Yeah, but people do
Generalization.
that about the Constitution too.
That's not a
Yeah,
generalization. It's impossible to believe all of it. There's thousands, literally, of contradictions written throughout it.
I
Because
believe
there's
in
different
all.
interpretations. You could take King James, and you can take like
No, like in
Benedict,
any
fine.
translation, there's contradictions written into the book.
Yeah.
So what's the
Because
right translation?
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that the idea is that we should treat it the way we should treat it like
The
any other
right
book.
translation is
Well,
the one that everyone.
I feel like translations inherently aren't right. You know what I mean? Like it seems kind of like
so
a
why are we
vast
still
concept.
reading off the book and going off of it if it's wrong?
Because, like, if I wanted to, I could read the Aramaic version of the Bible, but I don't read Aramaic, so it'd be kind of a waste of my time.
So we shouldn't bother the
So-
Bible at all. Then.
Well, I mean, like, if you feel inclined to learn Aramaic, power to you. You're going to be my new favorite person. But it's sort of just we take what's available. I'm not going to read, the Spanish version of Don Quixote because I want to read it. I'm going to read something that's accessible, something that I can be like, well, this is what happened, dude. But take it as an interpretation, not necessarily like, this is word for word. The guy who printed this on the paper is God's messenger type thing. That everything is. They didn't print it because he was already dead. But you have to take things in context. That even something as ingrained in society as the Bible is political.
But what is the context of? Again, I want to go back to my favorite story of the bear mauling the kids.
I never heard that story.
God's a dick.
Because they made fun of a boy.
There's a story that these children made fun of these. Just look up 52 bears.
It's in 2 Kings.
No, don't Google that.
Is it in 2 Kings?
I believe it's in 2 Kings.
2 Kings.
Thank you, Colleen.
Bear.
Don't do it.
I wasn't thinking. No offense to internet people who really want to see a pile of 52 bears.
2 Kings chapter 2 verses 23
Okay,
to
someone's
25.
definitely gonna have to explain that to me.
What?
Someone's gonna have to explain that to me.
Oh, a
Okay,
bear is a
so-
large hairy game man.
Yes.
Oh.
And a bear cub is a slightly smaller.
Oh,
hairy
apparently
game
it goes down in rank. And the next comes wolves and then otters.
Really?
Otters?
An otter is like
Do they wear Speedos?
It's like a thin. It's like the slim,
Yeah.
like girly boy kind of character.
What is an
Okay.
iguana?
So, as long as we're...
You are, Richard.
Okay,
You're an
so-
iguana.
This is the... What interpretation? What... I don't know what translation this is.
I like how the entire
It's always King James Version.
Well, this isn't King James.
Well, guys, we don't have too much time left. The idea is it's another story that is probably incredibly interpreted to mean something about you should obey God. It doesn't matter. The idea behind it is people have just as much justification believing it literally.
So don't disobey the bear will get you.
I have it in front.
No, it's like don't insult people or bears will come and rip you to pieces.
You know why bears came and ripped you to pieces? Because you touch yourself at night.
But by calling people sinners and stuff based on your opinion, that's insulting.
Well, like
that guy on the corner when we had the atheist table kept saying that we're criminals and stuff.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Because
If he
I am
had
a
said
criminal.
water, your mother
Guys,
just
one
jumped.
person.
Would have just jumped up and pointed at my crotch. Maybe he was there when I said that. When he went, Matt, words.
Did you hear when he was mumbling about like the Titanic or something and like
I don't know.
he was like talking.
He was talking about
yeah,
something like
he's
you had to find your life preserver. It's one of those sort of
It's
things.
in the Bible.
He was like, yeah, it was an unsinkable ship, and like, they said it was
Nostradamus.
unsinkable, but it sank, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, because of poor engineering, we could have made a better one.
Yeah.
We have made better ones.
Wait,
We made
wait,
much
wait.
bigger ships than the Titanic.
Amateur professionals built the Titanic. Amateurs
Wait,
built the Ark.
Isn't this the 3rd week in a row we're talking about the Titanic?
Yeah, and also the Ark is wrong.
Yeah, there's
And
no
it's got
way you
the
can
power
fit 2 of
of
everything
God.
on there.
Everyone has 3 cubic millimeters of space.
Which is totally enough for
that's a
an
really
ox.
small
Dude.
giraffe.
Or an elephant.
David,
I-
we could do an entire podcast on Noah's Ark by itself.
We
That's
could do an entire podcast on a million different subjects.
Noah's Ark is so like
ridiculous.
When I was
it's
reading-
so cute though. Like
It's
Yeah, the
stupid.
entire world gets drowned except for one family.
no, I mean I'm just saying.
And there's
like,
rainbows and
adorable.
cupcakes.
like as soon as-
Cupcakes. He put cupcakes on.
No, also, like,
but-
the people that wrote it have a very limited grasp of information. The whole idea is, like, anything that breathes with their nostrils gets put on the Ark, which means whales get put on the Ark.
It's like your
They
son,
breathe with their nostrils.
it's like your son or daughter comes into your house and they're like, "Hey, Daddy, guess what I learned?" And then they tell you the story of the Ark, and you're really like, "That's wrong.
Well,
Ew, you drooled.
Ah!
I didn't do it. That didn't happen." You know.
It's fine.
I brought this point
We
up.
have 1 minute left. We need, like, closing remarks about depression or something.
Okay.
Stop being depressed.
Depression
people.
is bad. Go see a psychologist.
Yeah,
No, go exercise.
Yeah,
Release
guys,
those endorphins.
guys. If you feel that you are actually depressed in a significant way, whether it be from your understanding of religion or your lack of religion, please seek out an actual health professional. Seek out somebody you trust and can talk to. But please do not find solace in something like religion. It is not entirely based on reality. And sometimes it definitely could help you, but other times it could push you down a road that you can't escape from. So please get help.
And it doesn't make you any less strong. It doesn't make you any less macho or any less of a person. You mean you'd go to the hospital for a broken arm. Go get yourself sorted out.
We have 2 seconds.
Bye-bye.
Make sure
Bye.
you eat your Jesus every day.